On their wedding night, Lucrezia was heartlessly abandoned by her husband, so she went to her brother's room for comfort.
Am I so hard to love? Only a Borgia, it seems, can truly love a Borgia.
She said that since all of Italy was already filled with rumors about them, there was no need to keep suppressing their feelings.
Your husband.
You will be my husband. Tonight.
In the end, they crossed the forbidden line. The next morning, Lucrezia and her brother met in the hallway, awkwardly avoiding each other's eyes. That very morning, the King of Naples went to Alfonso, demanding to know if the wedding night had been consummated.
Just everything you could wish for, I suppose.
You suppose? Cousin, we're men talking here.
Although Alfonso didn't say it outright, his inability to lie betrayed him, and his cousin immediately saw through the truth. After being scolded, Alfonso went to Lucrezia that evening to apologize for running away the night before. But Lucrezia was no longer the same as last night. She felt shrouded in darkness and refused to be close to her husband. Alfonso couldn't understand her coldness. Soon, the King of Naples angrily confronted the Pope, complaining that the marriage was still empty in name only. The Pope was shocked, while Cesare argued that it had only been a few days. But the king insisted there could be no further delay.
If it is unconsummated, then whose fault is that?
He not only shamed the Borgia family by bringing up Lucrezia's previous marriage and childbirth, but also demanded to personally witness the consummation to ensure the marriage was real. The woman deliberately placed the candlestick beneath the rope because it was tied to the chandelier hanging above her brother's bed. She planned to burn through the rope in secret, killing her brother. Everyone knew it was the second brother, Juan, who murdered Lucrezia's lover, yet he carried on as if nothing had happened, indulging himself day and night. Furious, Lucrezia stormed upstairs and told him to be quiet. Juan took the chance to show affection, but Lucrezia said if he wanted reconciliation, he must first earn her forgiveness.
Forgiveness for what?
For being yourself. You should get back to the task at hand, brother, and I to my lonely bed.
She calmly set down the candle and returned to her room to wait. Soon after, a scream rang out, but Juan narrowly escaped death. Staring at the burned rope, he realized his sister truly wanted him dead. He decided to obey his father's wishes, marry a Spanish wife, and leave Rome for a time. Lucrezia and her elder brother Cesare stood on the city wall, watching Juan depart.
A sad day to lose a brother, is it not, Cesare?
Indeed. I wonder that the sun even dares to shine.
Their companions sneering. But then a galloping horse entered the city, making Cesare turn serious.
What on God's earth?
Am I so hard to love?
Is it awkward for two people to meet again after they've had sex? The Pope had no idea what had really happened. He casually asked his daughter how her wedding night went. Lucrezia could only lower her head and smile, hiding the truth. After the Pope left, Cesare didn't know how to face his sister. He avoided eye contact and walked away like she was a stranger. Last night was supposed to be Lucrezia's wedding night, but her husband got upset over something trivial and left her alone. Lucrezia felt deeply wrong. This was already her third marriage, and maybe, just maybe, the only person who had ever truly cared for her was her brother. Late at night, she quietly entered Cesare's room. Cesare was shocked to see her.
Only a Borgia, it seems, can truly love a Borgia. They already whispered of us throughout the whole of Italy. Why deny ourselves the pleasure for which we're already accused?
But after hearing what she said, he began to understand what must have happened and what happened next. You can probably guess. Meanwhile, the groom, Alfonso, lay in bed feeling miserable. He knew he was in the wrong, but still couldn't bring himself to apologize. The next day, Alfonso's uncle asked how the wedding night went. Alfonso hesitated, avoiding the question. The uncle immediately sensed something was off.
You can kill a concubine.
If she displeases you, you can kill a wife too, but the displeasure must be grave.
I will not be beaten, Jen.
Looking at her ugly fiancé, Lucrezia felt a wave of despair, but for the sake of her family, she had no choice but to marry him. Her brother, acting as witness, personally hosted the wedding, unwilling to see his sister spend her life with such a man. At that moment, the Pope looked at his daughter with deep guilt, yet Lucrezia showed not the slightest resentment. Meanwhile, her mother was feeding pigeons outside. Once a famous courtesan, she had been forbidden by the Pope from attending, fearing her presence would cast a shadow over the ceremony. After the wedding, Cesare was furious, but he had no power to change anything. He went to his mother's room, insisting on taking her to the banquet. At the banquet, the Pope and his mistress sat at the center. As a newly enthroned pontiff, He had to secure his authority, even if it meant sacrificing his daughter's happiness for political alliance. Lucrezia cared little for politics. She believed she could grow affection with her husband, but Giovanni only showed her contempt. When Cesare entered with his mother, the Pope nearly lost his temper. Cesare publicly introduced his mother, pressing the Pope. Surely the bride should be allowed to share a dance with her mother. Clearly, this was Cesare's way of expressing his dissatisfaction. Faced with his daughter's expectant gaze and the eyes of the court, the Pope reluctantly agreed. Cesare then introduced his mother to Giovanni, who, unwilling to associate with a woman of such notoriety, pulled Lucrezia away at once.
Any blood, thank God. A virgin. You must be unique in your family.
The Pope was haunted by the same nightmare every night. In order to secure his position, he married off his daughter to an old and ugly nobleman, trading her future for an alliance. In the days after Lucrezia's wedding, the Pope's dreams grew worse, though his aides comforted him, saying that dreams were the opposite of reality. But the truth was grim. Lucrezia's life was miserable. On her wedding night, she received no kindness, spending the most important moment of her life in tears. Each night, when she heard her husband's footsteps, her body trembled uncontrollably. She could only close her eyes, trying to calm herself. After it was over, she would bathe, while the servants turned away from the scars on her back.
What do you know of marriage, Francesca?
I know, my lady, it should not be thus.
Slowly, Lucrezia seemed to adapt to her new home. One day, she stumbled upon the stable boy bathing and walked closer. Paolo felt embarrassed and hurried back into the stable to put on his shirt. But Lucrezia followed him, teasing that she could mend the hole in his clothes.
I could never ask, my lady.
And stop this my lady nonsense. My name is Lucrezia.
She told him to call her by her name instead of my lady. Soon, they were playing together in the stable, though Paolo kept forgetting and called her my lady again. To punish him, Lucrezia grabbed his hands, looked into his eyes, and made him say her name once more. The air between them grew thick with unspoken desire. The woman was already pregnant, yet she claimed she had never consummated her marriage with her husband.
Turned out to be impotent.
In truth, it was nothing but a lie. But Lucrezia believed her husband Giovanni wouldn't dare speak the truth. Giovanni started to argue back, but his words trailed off. Since their wedding, he had treated Lucrezia with cruelty, yet he didn't dare admit it. So in the end, all he could say was that Lucrezia was lying. The Pope swore he would help his daughter secure a divorce. According to church law, if a marriage had never been consummated, no matter how long the couple had been together, it could be declared invalid. Thus, the Pope gathered everyone together for judgment. Since the husband and wife gave conflicting stories, Giovanni was now required to prove his manhood in front of everyone. Giovanni was reluctant, but he had no other way out. Moments later, he appeared in his nightclothes before the assembly. Then, two voluptuous women entered the room. The secretary announced